Hello everybody, my name is Paul McKeever, and this is my new guitar build. So today we're going to begin the pickup installation. This is the neck pickup. I have not shielded these cavities. There's not really going to be, well, I'll see how it goes in terms of hum. I don't expect there to be a huge hum problem with this. The house I'm in right now, the grounding probably isn't the best, but still, these pickups are exceptionally good at canceling hum. The amount of shielding that I would get by lining this with copper would be so utterly small. I'm not using a plate, so I'm not convinced that it would have any positive effect at all. It's not as though it would even be much of a shield, much less like some people like to claim they can make a Faraday cage, which you can't do on a guitar. But in any event, you'll notice that with a pickup like this, it's designed to be used with, a plate. And the plate has holes in it that correspond to the holes. Let's see if I can get that. It kind of lines up there. There. That hole right there. So the screw would come through the plate. There would be an adjustable system with springs and etc. to raise and lower the pickup using the plate on the guitar as the platform to which the pickup's attached. But I'm not using a plate, so I'm going to do what's called a direct mount into the guitar. So the screws are going to go through the hole directly into the guitar. Now the question becomes, how do you do the adjustment of the height of the pickup relative to the strings? Well, one of the approaches is to use, I'll show you just here, what comes with the Kinman set. You get these sort of rubbery, collapsible bits that you can use. But, or sometimes people use, the kinds of tubing that's used in surgery. Another approach, though, is to use basically rubber foam. This is just self-stick it, weather sealed. It's kind of stuff that you would use, in a door. Keep a better door's seal around your door. And so I've used the 3/4 inch wide, 7/16 inch. It's 10 feet long, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm going to take a strip of this, maybe about that long, okay? Adhere it into the hole, not onto the pickup. I've seen some people put the adhesive side onto the pickup. I don't want to do that. I don't want anything sticky on the pickup, but I don't mind having something sticky on the wood. I can always pull that out, sand it out if I have to, whatever. So before attaching anything, though, in terms of adhesives, I'm going to make sure everything can fit, because of course, if the company that made this guitar, Warmoth, did not make the holes deep enough to accommodate a Kinman pickup, and Kinman pickups can be a bit taller. They're high tech. I mean, they're a noise canceling pickup. So before we go too far with putting any adhesive on anything, we're just going to take a piece of this stuff, place it in there, and see when we put the pickup on top of it what kind of clearance we can get. Of course, this stuff is compressible, so it's not as though, I guess what we're going to use is this. I'll use this to sort of, because you'll see on this side there is a tackiness and adhesiveness. And I'm going to take the tape that was used to keep the roll together and just cover that up so that I can put it into the cavity without having to worry too much about it. Take a piece of this. Might be a bit too long, but we can adjust it as needed. No, that'll fit. All right, I'm going to stick it into the cavity just like so. It's not attached. I'm going to take the pickup. I'll have to loosen off the E-string to do this. Which makes the whammy bar a little unhappy. I'm going to have to feed the wire through before putting this foam in. It's not snug at all. It's very easy to do. With the Warmoth, the string will, or sorry, the wire will come out in the actual control cavity. There we go. And then we can turn this back over. Put our foam in there temporarily. And then see what kind of clearance we're going to get. So as it turns out, that foam is not going to do the trick. It's too thick. It leaves the pickup up too high. Even if I compress it significantly, it's not going down far enough. I'm going to need something probably half that thickness, so something in the range of 1/4 of an inch. That's 7/16 inch. Maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe even less. What it means is ultimately I'm not going to have a lot of adjustment space unless I route out the depth of the pickup cavity. I don't want to do that just yet. I want to see what can be achieved just by changing the height of the foam underneath the pickup. So I'm going to make myself a trip over to Canadian Tire and get some thinner foam. All right, so got to Canadian Tire just in time to get some 3/16 inch thick. Same stuff, just thinner. So we're gonna see if maybe we can still get some foam under that pickup so that we have a bit more ability to adjust. Taking out the 7/16 inch piece. And we'll put in. So we're going to take that foam and we're going to put it underneath. We'll take the pickup out just a little bit. Put that underneath the pickup. And now we can see the pickup sitting much nicer. Yeah, that's better. And I suppose, you know, if the height becomes an issue, I can always just drop another piece in there. That's only 3/16, so. All right, I think we're on. In fact, interestingly, let's just see here if I tighten this E string. Yeah, I might want to put some more foam under this side in particular. This side here, I think the reason it's riding as high as it is because the wire goes down through the channel here. So the pickup, I think, is sitting on top of the wire to a certain extent. So what I'm going to do is put another piece of foam in under that side. And I think it'll probably compress. I'm just going to double check that. All right, so the one piece is sitting on top of the other piece. You know, just tighten up the E string first. Yeah, that'll be about right. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So at the end of the day, you want basically, at least with this route's depth, I've got about a 3/16 piece of foam under here. It looks like it's catching a little bit on the wire from the pickup that goes through the hole that's on this side. So that's sort of our bottom limit. And we've got 6/16 of foam on the top end to bring the pickup up a little higher on this side because there is no wire on this side. All right. Now for this pickup, I purchased, these are a size 4, 1 inch long. There's no smooth neck. I've tried to get Phillips head. I couldn't get Phillips. I got instead a Robertson's. But what's important about this is that the bottom of the screw head is flat, not beveled. Right? We're not driving into a piece of wood and trying to make a nice, smooth, flat surface at the top of the screw. Rather, what we're trying to do is make a nice flat purchase with the top of the pickup cover ring here. And so you want a screw like this. Now, these were, I picked these up at just a regular old hardware store. Fits fast, 4x1, 4 being the, the diameter of the screw, 1 being the length of the screw. These are zinc metal screws, what they call pan socket tapping screws. They should do the trick. Now, I've also had a look to see whether they'll fit through the holes. You'll see some videos on YouTube where people are taking the pickup and they're drilling through the hole here, because the pickups are provided with, let me just do this gently here, I don't want to pull the wire out too. The pickups have these brass, just a little bit more, these brass ends. So this is the actual pickup, this is just the pickup cover, plastic. No problem with the screw getting through the plastic cover. This, you'll see some people on YouTube drilling that out because it does have teeth in it, So it's meant for height adjustment screws. What I'm going to try doing, however, is just, I'm not going to drill. I might even be able to preserve some of that in case one day I want to have this on a suspended on a cover. So I'm just going to try putting the screws, and you can see the bottom of the screws already coming through there quite easily. Turning it, I get it through, no problem. I didn't have to drill out the Kinman pickup hole. So I'm going to leave that as is. I'm not going to drill it out. But what I do have to do is find, once I get the foam in there in the right place, I've got to find a location for the pickup where the pole pieces line up nicely under the strings when they're taut, okay? You don't want this pole piece being way over here or way over there. It has to line up along the string. And this pole piece should line up under this string. So I'm going to be using a tool called an awl, A-W-L, I believe that's how it's spelled. All right, so first I'm going to give myself a bit of a guide to, I want to know how much length I should cut off when I'm using this foam. And so I want the length to fall between the two pickup screws, screw holes. So it can't be as long as, I don't want the screw going through the foam. I want the foam to come short, maybe to about there and to there. So I'm just going to use this piece of backing that was on the back of some foam to give myself a bit of a sense of the length I want. And there it is. That should do it. It's about the right length. All we need is some cushion, some suspension that's going to be pushing the pickup upward while the screws are pushing the pickup downward. And that'll allow us to adjust the height both on the one side and on the other. I think what I'm going to do is, because of the channel here for the wire causing the one side to lift or to be limited in how far into the hole it can go, I'm going to use the 7/16 inch foam. I'm just going to put a square of it there and a larger square of, more like a rectangle of the 3/16 foam on this side, and see if just by putting the pieces there instead of a whole great big bar of it, I might be able to maximize the lift without causing the pickup to touch the strings. So I'm going to take this foam here. I know that that's the total length right there. So I think a square about a little less than half of that should do me. In terms of locating it, I want to make sure the guide gives me some sense of where I should be putting this thing. So, all right, about 1 centimeter this way from the very edge of the circle, the edge of the pickup cavity. Hardly an exacting science, but part of the fun. All right, and I'm going to leave that backing on there. I don't want anything sticky to, oh sorry, on this case, I think, yes, I can take it off because for whatever reason, the backing is sticking to the non-sticky side. All right, and then we'll take some of the 3/16, do the same, put that in the hole, about the same location. Tweezers are handy in this case. Unless you've got teacup hands. And again, we can pull the paper off once we got the rubber in there. And now, loosen off that E-string. I'm going to pull the wire through a bit more. There we go. The wire's pulled through as far as it can go. Yes, I've got some sponginess, you see, on this side here. I don't need much on this side because, again, I don't have a lot of space to deal with because of the wire. All right, so now the question is where to place the pickup this way. So we're going to tighten the E-string back up. Okay, it's tight enough that now we can position it. You can see it's too far that way. So we're going to have to move it a bit. We want it, I think, right about, and the wire's fighting me here. Right about there. All right, so what I did was I took the Kinman screwdriver that's used to turn some tiny screws on the harness. It's so small that it does in fact fit through. All right, and the inside of the pickup cavity has a finish. So by breaking the finish with the edge of the screwdriver, I could take the pickup out again. I can locate where the finish is broken. Then I can get my awl in and use that broken finish hole as the place where I'm going to do my guide holes for the screws. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'll try and bring a light in a second. You can actually hear, well, you might not be able to hear it, but I can hear some crackling of the finish where I'm doing the work with the awl. I'm not going to go down too far because I need to have some purchase with the screw, of course. That should be enough. All right, so I'm going to place the pickup back in. I'm going to make sure the wire's all the way the right way. And make sure this, I'm just going to hand screw it until it gets through the pickup enough to the, in fact, I'll show you what I'm doing there. All right, so you can see I've got enough to work with there. But I should be able to find the guide hole. There we go. I'm not actually going into the wood here yet. I'm just trying to get the screw down into the pickup guide hole far enough that I can then start feeling around for the hole I made with the awl. And I believe I'm in it. But just to double check that, I'm going to see if I can line up the other side as well. going to drill a bit once I get just a bit of a guide hole, because I don't want to crack the wood in any way. Plus we'll be able to see what we've done in terms of marking the positions. So you can see a hole there. You can see a hole there. And those are the holes which I agitated first with the tiny screwdriver, did a bit more work with the awl. Now I just started guiding the screws in for the pickups. And what we're going to do next is drill straight down with a fine enough bit. Let me just back up here. With a fine enough bit that the screw itself is thicker than the drill size, the drill hole size, okay? That'll just take a tiny bit of wood out so that the screws aren't distressing the wood. I'm gonna go find a drill bit that's the right size and we'll keep going. Now I've determined that the guitar, I've measured the guitar depth. I've measured the depth of the pickup cavity, and by subtracting the depth of the pickup cavity from the depth of the guitar, I've determined that the wood that's left between the bottom of the pickup cavity and the back of the guitar is 1/8 of an inch more than 1 inch, so it's 9/8 of an inch. So that we don't drill all the way through the guitar, we want to do something with our drill bit to mark it so that we know we're not going down too far. You can place tape, masking tape, all right, around the bit where you want to stop. In other words, you could do this. If you know that you want to go down that far, let's just say, you take the tape, put it around like a little flag, and should be able to get it in there. Might have to find some narrower tape just so that I can get it into the chuck. There we go. With a bit this small, it's sometimes difficult to find the absolute middle. There we go. But you can check. There we go. So that this will be a flag that tells us, you know, don't go any further than when the tape is at the base of the pocket. The other thing is that we're going to need to get the strings well out of the way. So getting the pickup back out of that hole is proving to be more trouble than it's worth, frankly, because although it probably could be done with a little bit more patience, there's a pin on the end of it that has a housing. The housing can easily get through the hole, but there's some circuitry back there that's fastened in place that's making it difficult to get past the hole. So I'm going to leave it in. I've pulled the pickup out of the way. The strings have been this string has been taken off. I've marked the drill where I want it, and I'm going to drill down into that one hole, which I think you can see there, right there, until the flag hits. And I'm going to, if the chuck gets too close to the guitar, I'm just going to stop. And I'm going to go very slowly. All right. That's one down. I'm going to move the E string out of the way, move the pickup to the other side, and we're going to do the other hole. Okay, good. All right. So we've got our Robertsons here. We've got our 1-inch screw, number 4 size. We've got our guide holes drilled already. Once I get it through the pickup housing area, there I go, I can find the hole. That's one. Again, once I get it through the pickup ring, there we go. Good. Now I fully expect that the pickup ring is going to be, the threads on it will be, you know, unhappy because I'm putting these screws into them. And hopefully that will make them more cooperative when I try and set the height. Let me just see where we're at in terms of putting the strings on. If it becomes a problem, I suppose I can always drill out. I just don't want to try that yet. I don't want to do that yet. With this whammy bar system, being that it's a blade system, it doesn't necessarily line up properly with the groove until you get the whammy bar in there and give it one bend. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do, just to make sure that it's all sitting in the right spot. There we go. You see how it pops before it makes a big difference. Now I can get a sense of the ride height of the pickup relative to the strings. And that's in there. I'm not going to do any more futzing about with the pickup just yet. I'm going to see whether I can get this thing to sound proper before I go doing any more crazy stuff. I don't want to start routing. I don't want to take this all apart and retry. I think we've got a good start here. I'm going to put the other two pickups in, and once we get them in, we're going to do the wiring on the other side. Now, it's just occurred to me that I've purchased extra pickup covers, and they have the same guide hole as the, you know, whether you have the pickup in them or not, the guide hole is in the same place. So rather than putting a pickup in here and dealing with all the wires and whatnot, I'm going to place this in and use the holes that are in the plastic for the E and E, the high and low E. To line up the middle and back pickups. Now, interestingly, on the Stratocaster, the pickup width is the same in all three positions. But because the bridge pickup is on a kilter, on an angle, the E string here and the E string here don't line up perfectly as they do here. So you have to make a judgment call about, there isn't a lot of room. I mean, you can move it a bit, but you'd have to make a judgment call about whether you want it to be, you know, more centered over the E string, more centered over this E string, or somewhere in between. And I think I'm going to end up somewhere in between. What I think we'll do next is turn it over. We're going to have to take these screws off, allow this piece to come out. It looks like the wiring area in there is so tight that to get these prongs into the circuit board, which is right behind this piece here, we're really going to have to loosen it off. We might even have to loosen off one or two of the pots, but I'll try and avoid that. You can see here, this is the board, and I don't think you can even see from this angle where these 3 sets of pickup prongs are supposed to go in. So we're going to loosen the screws off, take this out, and do that. Take this circuit board out. And the pins for the pickups, I believe, are going to plug in right here. I just have to double check my photograph, because of course I did take a photograph before taking the pickups out of the harness. But actually you can see it right here. The writing says neck, middle, bridge. And since we know that this is our neck pickup, blue, neck's going to go in first, then the white, then the red. That little screwdriver that Kinman provides takes the tension off, or like undoes these tiny little screws, so that you can then put the pins in. Don't lose the screwdriver unless you want to try and spend a whole Saturday hunting for one that's of equal size. Okay. That goes in the slots right there. I can hold it in with one finger, and then I want to tighten the screws. That's one. Next up was the middle pickup. Swing this light around here so maybe you can see what's going on. There we go. Two screws, one for each pin. And then red, being our bridge pickup. All right,